Peter, and I'm here with Jason.
Yo, my peoples, what's up?
And Steve.
Hey, guys.
And Colin.
Hey.
And Bairnt.
Greetings.
And my partner in crime, my brother from another mother, Mike. What's up?
I was here at episode 1, and we're here at episode 200, baby!
Woo!
Yeah.
Finally made it. Actually, we had an episode 0 also.
Oh, that's right.
So we're not really at 200. In fact, I got a little bit of trivia. I know we like to do that, but first let's thank our Patreon supporters, and then we'll get into our trivia before we get full head on into the episode.
Well, yeah, so thank everybody else. By the way, if you're just jumping in, this is the 3rd episode in which we are going through to celebrate the 200th episode of the podcast, and we're also on Shelf Stories, so thank you, Jason. This is us celebrating by going through our top 50 co-op games. So if you missed the last 2 episodes, pause and go watch those or go listen to those. But yes, we'd like to thank every week our amazing Patreon supporters who help us defray the cost of putting on the podcast, buying games, getting equipment, all that stuff. You keep us running and keep us bringing you the great content we do. So thank you all so much. This week, we're going to thank Brian Weisberg, who is a co-op lover, Kyle Dellis, a co-op lover, and Dave Snyder. Dave, we go way back with. David Snyder is a co-op MVP. So Brian, Kyle, and Dave, thank the 3 of you so much. And thank you again to all of our patrons and everyone who subscribes or is on our Discord or listens to the podcast or has rated us or given us a review. All that stuff helps. We appreciate all of it.
Alrighty, and one of the things that our Patreon supporters help us do is run contests, and we had one that we're going to talk about at the end of this episode because all the listeners out there, we had you guys vote on your top co-ops of all time, and so we're going to go over that at the end after we go over our top 10 list. All right, but let's talk about how many tracks total do we have. Now, we have 200 episodes. But there was obviously an episode 0, so we have at least 201. Anybody have a good guess about how many episodes we have?
Nope.
201.
213.
Well, what else counts as tracks? Like maybe filling in what else? What else
So
has the One Stop Coop Shop
anything,
done?
any updates, any I had a first impressions video at one point. We had an unlock update. I'll give you a clue. It's more than 200. Literally right after the unlock episode, which is episode 3, we had an update because the app got updated and we complained about the app for half of the episode. And then literally before 2 days after the episode released, we had a track about that. Actually, our first one of these episodes, so I'll give you the answer. It's 210 total. So it's actually not as much as I thought it would be. We didn't have any or that many over. So, but our first one was our first unnumbered one was between, I think, episode 2 and 3. So right before the unlock one, which was my first impressions are important thing. So similar to a lot of the content that I do, I get very excited and I just couldn't wait another week to make another episode. So I put out this it was a design discussion about how important first impressions are. So that was the first one of those. All right, Colin, I'm going to start with you. What was the first episode? So this is a little trivia for you guys. What was the first episode you were on?
Oh,
I know this.
No, Spirit Island.
You think it was Spirit Island?
Yes.
Yes, you were right. That's number 9,
Okay,
episode
good.
9. So the second question, how many takes did we have?
3. I know that one. 3 freaking takes. One was my fault.
So we got done. For those that don't know the story, it's a great story. So we got done recording the first time, and I said, "All right, Colin, just send me over your track." He's like, "Wait, I was supposed to be recording?" It was our first time ever having a guest. I never told Colin that he was supposed to be recording his side, so he didn't record. So then we go for take 2, and we literally get to the end, and I turn around to stop my computer from recording, and I'm like, guys, my computer shut down at some point. It was 10 minutes into the recording. My computer completely shut down. We've been recording for Another hour and a half. And then the third take, Mike's like, I'm out. I can't do this again. So Mike wasn't on. So Colin and I did a third take. And then I took all 3 of those takes and edited it down to 1 episode. So I don't know if you'll be able to tell or not. I haven't listened to that one in a while, but like that is the only time this has ever happened. It was multiple takes. The only time we've ever had to do multiple takes. And it was 3 that we combined down to 1. All right, Bairnt, let's go to you. Do you know the first episode of one of the podcasts that you were on?
First podcast I was on, I had to have been on with Elijah and Steve. And I'm going to guess, wow. Is it Nemesis?
I don't know the answer to that because I couldn't find you. Actually, I thought 198 might have been your first episode. So I'm glad you found it. You're the worst trivia master ever.
He was like, yes, it is Nemesis.
Yes, that was it.
Good job. You figured it out.
That wasn't a trivia question. That was actually asking you.
I was literally just asking you if you knew because I couldn't find it.
Do you remember, Steve? I had to have been on with Elijah and Steve. Do you remember, Steve? Was it Nemesis, do you think?
It might have been Nemesis. I think you're right on that one.
It's
Yeah.
either because I think I did a playthrough and you're like, hey, do you want to join us on the podcast or something? I think you reached out to me.
Yeah, because we were both playing Nemesis at the same time. And so
I was having a
like, hey,
fantastic experience with it, and you were having a whole hum experience with it.
well, it was funny because like your number one best thing about it was like one of my cons, and one so we were like flip-flopped.
So good.
The noise mechanic, right? Like you loved how it worked, Bairnt, and Steve hated it. I remember that.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to keep going around the table. Mike, I'm not going to ask you what your first episode was. You'd probably be able to figure that out.
I've been here.
So let me ask you this. So what was our first big guest that people would know? You guys are all big time for sure. But what was our first big guest that people would know on the podcast?
The one that sticks out to me was we were at a convention and we interviewed Matt Leacock, who designed Pandemic. Is that the one?
Yep, episode 27.
I was so starstruck. We went into like some random room, and he was there, and I was like, "Hey, Matt Leacock, you are, spindly and unassuming, and you are not intimidating at all. But I'm still scared of you." It was very odd.
It's like we said in our top 10 things to know about game design, like a couple episodes ago. Like you're not going to become famous from this. Like Mike didn't know who he was when he walked in the room. He's like, "Oh, who's recording with us today?" Right? Like, I mean, even one of the number one.
Now, to clarify, I knew who Matt Leacock was. I didn't know that guy was Matt Leacock.
Right. Correct. Yeah. So, I thought it was kind of funny. All right. So we'll go to somebody else, or anybody can reach out to this right afterward. I thought you might actually get that wrong. Right afterward, we had another big name guest on. Anybody remember who that was? It was we broke it into 2 episodes, actually. It was episode 31 and 32. We had another he was actually a fan of the podcast. Mike, you can't answer this.
Oh, Jamie
Was it
Stegmaier?
Ricky Roy?
Yep.
Stegmaier.
Jason, that's right. Jamie Stegmaier came on came right after that. All right, Steve, I'm not going to, no, Jason, can't skip Jason. Jason, what was your first episode and what did we review?
It would have to have been a Pandemic because I was the pandemic correspondent for One Stop Coop Shop.
Right.
Still a pandemic correspondent for One Stop
That's right.
Coop Shop. Haven't gotten enough. We need to get Pandemic Season 0 at the table. I need to play it anyway.
I need to play it too. Yeah.
I'm going to say Pandemic Season 1.
It was not. It was close though. You're right on the right track. It was Pandemic Legacy Season 2.
Was
it?
Really?
Yes.
Oh, it was
episode
like the first
15.
impressions or something. Yeah, okay.
No, it was a full. We had just finished it, and Mike and I had played it together, so we wanted to get somebody else's outside
that is
opinion.
Wrong. We did not complete the whole thing. I think it was just off of like the first game or 2.
All right, we'll have to listen back.
I feel like he was on earlier than that because
it was
I feel like
the
by the
first
time we
game.
did Pandemic Season 2.
I specifically remember waiting for you guys. It was like we had done the first couple of games. We did the episode, and I'm like, okay. And then I played it with my group, and I was waiting for you guys. And then you guys were dragging butt because it was not a pleasurable run through that game.
That's accurate.
And it was
Not for us.
year later that I was going to have you guys on my show and have another couple of guests. And then by then I'd forgotten what happened.
Yes.
And so
maybe we
actually
hadn't finished
reviewed
at
season
episode
2.
15. I don't remember. See, I didn't listen back to it. All right. So some of our fans let us know, either in the Discord or, just send us the email, whatever.
It was off the first couple of scenarios. It wasn't the whole thing.
It might have been. Right afterwards was Liz's first episode. I know she's not here today, but that was episode 17 with Dragonfire.
Dragonfire.
So that's when Mike and I decided if we don't love a game, we'll bring somebody on who does love it. So
and then she was like, I don't like this game either. We were like,
yes.
We messed up.
All right. So let's get over to Steve. Steve, do you remember who your first guest was? Now, this I did.
Not Elijah, not counting Elijah, right?
Not counting Elijah. So this is actually after Colin left, I believe. So his first guest host. Who was it?
My wife, Kim.
Just say yes, Peter. Just say yes.
That's not what I had.
My gosh.
I had Howard for episode 630, rather.
No,
Kim Howard.
7 stages of a board gamer.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that episode.
And then actually your next episode, for your next episode 33, you had John, Heavy vs. Light Games. So you actually had a couple of guest hosts back to back right when Colin was taking a break from doing the podcast. So we got Colin back though for episode 200 for sure.
Right when Colin's taking a break from everything.
Yeah, that was when I was selling the house. It was a little crazy. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes. All right. So the only other fact we've got up here, and this is a trivia question for everybody. We've only missed 1 week ever. This is crazy. I mean, there's a lot of us, but we've never missed a week since we started doing this, unless somebody can prove me wrong. Now, when Mike and I started, it was every other week. It was every other week. But since you guys joined us, since Steve and Colin joined us, I don't think we've missed a week, unless I'm missing something here. And Jason's filled in some weeks and stuff like that. But I did cheat 1 week to get us content. So in episode 46, I did Mike's 5 and 5 reviews. So I took those from the YouTube channel and put them in the podcast. So any idea? There were 6 games actually that we had covered there. We're like, we're going to start doing this all the time because we're like, we need a break every once in a while, and we never did it again. But for episode 46, we did. Any idea what Mike's first 6 5 and 5 reviews were? I mean, just give me any of them.
I mean, Harry Potter, I know was the first one. Was
Legendary Encounters?
Yes to Reckoners, no to Legendary Encounters.
It was when I was dressing up. Spirit Island.
Spirit Island was one.
Arkham LCG.
Yep.
Street Masters?
Was there Street Masters in that?
No, Street Masters was later. I got more experimental. Thunderstone Quest.
Thunderstone Barricades is what we had it listed as. Yep. And one more. It's got a giant mini in the middle of the table for no reason.
Oh God, Thanos Uprising.
Thanos Rising, yes.
Oh, that game, I loved it. It was great. Everyone go. That's going to be our number one today. Thanos Rising. And you know what? Don't stop with Thanos. If you go to different countries, you can get Harry Potter. You can get like Star Wars with Darth Vader, and they're all the best games by everyone.
That is definitely sarcasm. I don't think any of us like any of those games. All right. So one more fun fact, and this is something I just listened to today for our 1 year anniversary episode, Mike. You and I actually did not record together at the beginning. We had 2 separate reviews, and this is for anybody out there. We had 2 separate reviews with 2 groups of people, and I listened to it today with my whole family, not the whole episode, but part of it. It was awesome. So
it was your kids, right?
No, Peter's with his kids, and I was with Vanessa, and I did. Oh, you did Vanessa. I did Legacy of Dragonholt, and you did the pirate game. Is that right?
Yep, A Tale of Pirates. Yes, and I listened to it with my kids today. And my daughter, I think she was 6 at the time, was so adorable on that episode. The whole episode might not be worth listening to, but listening to my daughter was hilarious on there. My son too, he was pretty funny. But my daughter cracked me up today. We were listening to it. It was hilarious. So that was our 1 year anniversary episode. We didn't even review anything together for that one.
That's right.
And now we're closing in on what, 5 years of
wait, what was our first episode? I was going to ask.
I can't find the dates anymore. I don't know what's going on. Now, if I look back, if I listen to that 1 year episode, I bet at one point we say, oh, it's this date and that's where it was. So I will have to figure that out. But I don't think SoundCloud tracks the date. It used to tell you the exact date of the recording. So I never wrote it down because I just looked it up every time. Now I have no clue.
You could get a ballpark figure since you've only ever really missed 1 week. You could just count back 200 episodes and then maybe near the beginning, skip a couple because you were going every other week.
So Peter, if this helps, my first video on the YouTube channel was July 2018. So I think we were like March 2017, I want to say, somewhere in there.
That sounds about, I mean, it was mid 2017, I believe is right. So it's around 4 years. We're almost at 4 years now, I think, or almost. Yeah, that's about right. Yeah, without missing a week, which is crazy when you think about it. All right. So, yeah, let's get into the top 10. Now we had some nostalgia. Sorry, thanks for indulging us on that. I know that's one of my favorite things, and I've gotten a lot of feedback on that people like that as well, just kind of going down memory lane. So we appreciate you guys indulging us on that one. But yeah, let's get into our top 10 games.
So before Jason leads us off with our top 10 games, I wanted to look back. So Peter mentioned the contest. A part of entering the contest, we had over, I think, 150 people enter. So thanks, everybody. Was them sharing their top co-op games. And I went through the list and found all the ones we've mentioned so far. And then for the upcoming games, Jason, if you don't mind, after we talk about them, I just want to throw in what the viewers said.
Sure.
Viewers and listeners. So their number 20... did not make our list. I think Jason said it was in the 60s, was KDM. That was number 20. Not a lot of people voting for it, but the ones who did put it very high. That's what we
there you go, Bairnt.
Bairnt.
Vindication,
I got my
baby.
lovers out there. It is such a cult game, and it's that price point. That's really what it is. That's really what it is.
Journeys in Middle Earth was their number 17, which sounds similar to us, right? Didn't we have it like around 15 or something? Mechs versus
14.
Okay. Mechs versus Minions was 16. Cthulhu Death May Die was 14.
Oh, what?
Street Masters, I think they had higher than us. It was their 13. We were back like in the 20s, right?
31.
31, okay. Eldritch Horror was number 12. The Crew was number 11. And Base Pandemic was number 7. Now, it got a little fuzzy if I mixed in like Rise of Rome, but I had very few people voting for like individual games like that. So just Base Pandemic number 7. Anyway, so I think there are some that won't be on our list, and I think there are some that will be coming up soon. So I'll stop there. Take it away, Jason.
We're doing a pile of games. We're doing episode 200. This could be as long as humanly possible. It is all good. We are navel gazing. Look at those navels. Look at them. They're so beautiful.
This is our self-indulgent episode. Although
self-indulgent.
Indulgent. That's right. That's why we have Bairnt for the dungeon part.
That's right.
And for me, I became introduced to these gentlemen through my podcast, Every Night is Game Night, which had a year or so plus head start. And I left off that podcast at episode 190. And so this is my pleasure to be able to kind of drift back into this area and, enjoy 200, which my podcast didn't get, but I'm here at Shelf Stories.
Oh, you did. I mean, because you got it with us right here. This is it. This is, this is number 200. This is the combined number 200.
And I think, to go to the trivia, I think I know the first time one of us was on your podcast, which was when Peter had only played Seventh Continent a single time in a dark, hold on. If you haven't heard the story, in a dark bar with people who never realized there was a map on the back of the card. So they just wandered all like Colin, they were playing Sleeping Gods, but the game didn't want them to be playing Sleeping Gods. They weren't allowed to go anywhere. And it was like the worst experience of his life. And he just complained the entire episode about how this game sucks so much because of that one experience.
And do you know how many times I played it since then? Zero. To this day, I've never gone back. That was
that one in my top 10 isn't making the list. That's for sure.
Sorry, Bairnt.
Bairnt, I didn't put it up because I've only played it solo. I haven't played it co-op, but I like it. And I'm really excited about Seven Citadel, right? Didn't I send you my prototype for Seven Citadel, Brett?
Yep. Yeah. I got it. It's on that game.
I'm super excited about Seven Citadel. So I'm sure that one will make our next top 50.
Yeah. All right.
Make it happen. Top 10 co-ops from the One Stop Co-op Shop for episode 200. This is the creme de la creme. Lots and lots of high grades, lots and lots of positive opinions. We are going to start with number 10. It is a game that one of us ranked number 1 overall. And just for reference, we've already covered my number 1 game, Pandemic. We've covered Bairnt's number 1 game, Kingdom Death. Every single one of us had a different number 1 game overall. So this
got to be me.
Okay, so then are we agreed that we are going to talk about Peter's number 1 game right now?
I'm sure it's not mine, so I think it's Peter's.
Okay, it is indeed Peter's. It is Marvel Champions LCG.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've been playing it all the time. I don't know. I'm going to save our number 10 game. I'm going to say nothing about it because, I mean, it's just such a good game. That's the bottom line. Like, I love it. I've been playing all the time. I'm playing solo. I've been playing it co-op. Doesn't matter. It's just so much fun for me. It distills the LCG system. And I think the thing they got the best about it is the individual hero packs, because I can just pick up a hero pack and I can play today. And every new hero pack that comes out, I'm doing it on the stream channel now. And that's what I'm doing. I'm literally, without ever having looked at it before, I'm picking an enemy and I'm playing it. I've never looked at any of the cards, nothing else. And I can just bring it to the table and play it. And it's got that grab and play ability that I think none of the other LCGs has. But yet, I was just on a podcast last week where they were talking, I mean, they were digging deep. I mean, they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff that I've never done before in the game because I'm playing it at a different level, and you can do that. And it gives you all those options. And that's probably the best thing. If you want to make some of the most powerful decks and do some of the coolest stuff you've ever seen done, you can do it in this game. I've seen, so just to geek out a little bit, Black Panther is a deck that is based around like building up his equipment and then playing these cards called Wakanda Forever, which like yeah, which basically makes them all activate. So it's super powerful ability. He's got 5 of those cards in his deck, and he's got like 4 different upgrades, and he literally triggers them all every time he plays that. I played a game with Terrence where he played Black Panther and didn't play 1 upgrade the entire game. He literally just played it where he brought out a bunch of allies and boosted them, and he stayed mostly on his alter ego side and like drew more cards because he was doing that. He just had so many cool combos and things he could do from that alter ego side, which I've never seen a character played mostly on their alter ego side. Normally you're on your hero side beating them up, but he wasn't doing that at all. So there's so many different things you can play with it, but at the same time, I can bring it to the table and teach it to somebody, no problem. The first time, what's your favorite superhero? Here's a deck. It's already put together for you, and we're going to have fun.
Colin,
and this was,
actually, I'll go to Colin now because it didn't quite land for him as solidly.
Oh yeah, it didn't work as well, but that's because I have 3 LCGs. When you put that one in, and you look at Arkham Horror and Lord of the Rings, they're more up my alley. I'm more into the theme of Lord of the Rings. Arkham Horror, I'm more into the campaign. You do have 1 campaign box with Marvel Champions, but it's just it. If you play that with more than 2 or 3 people, it becomes a slog. Very slow. So I like the. In the other LCGs, I feel a lot more simultaneous. Marvel Champions, you do a lot of sitting around, especially at higher player counts. So it just didn't work as well for me, but that's fine. It's still a good game though. And I love how you use your cards as your resources. What a great way to cycle your deck so you get to see all your cards in your game. I
will say, even though it's my number 1 game, I don't really want to play it with more than 2. Really, I think it's great solo, and I think it's best at 2, and so that's why I listed it so high, even as a cooperative game. I think it's just great at 2 players, but I agree with you, 3 and 4, unless everybody really knows the game, I don't want to play that high account.
Okay, go ahead, Mike. I interrupted you.
Yeah, so just real quick stats. This was number 3 for the people in our poll, and the highest of the Fantasy Flight Cooperative LCGs.
Yes!
But
yes! Yes! Vindication!
It's actually one of the lower ones for people rating it their number 1 out of our top 10 for them. It was like very like spread across kind of support for it. And
everybody likes it because it's great. All right. I think we've solved the Arkham Horror versus Lord of the Rings. The answer is Marvel Champions, baby. Woo!
For you, Peter.
The people have spoken. The people have spoken.
I wonder if we're going to see Arkham Horror or LCG penetrate this top 10. We shall see. All right, so we are going to move to our number 9, and we're going to move to Mike, I believe, who has rated highest. It is Kind of a surprise that it landed this high for me, to be honest with you, because I think there are a lot of better party-ish games, but this one has a special charm because people have probably played the other variants of it. Codenames Duet.
Oh yeah. Oh my gosh. I love Codenames Duet. And the thing is, I know it's like sort of a 2-player game. So this is it's the cooperative variant of Codenames where you have all these cards laid out in a grid. You can have words, or they made Codenames pictures where it's pictures. And 2 teams have people trying to give them clues without the clues kind of bridging into other stuff and trying to give clues that refer to several cards. So Duet is the 2-player co-op one, but I played this with teams. That's why I really love this one a lot. I'll do like 2 with 2, right, or 3 on one side, 3 on the other. And I just love Codenames. For me, this eclipses Just One, although I enjoy Just One too. Now it's not as good of like a big party game. I don't really want to play this as often with like 6 or 8, and Just One is fine for that. But with 2 players or 3 players or 4 players, like what a good fun time, just silliness happening, giving them a clue and they pick the assassin. You're like, how could you get that? When I said blue, how could you think of a space astronaut? Like, what are you talking about? Like that's that kind of like goofiness. It's so fun. I play with my son, I play with my wife, I play with my family, like my parents. Just an awesome, very accessible game that I dare you to sit down and play this just one time. You know what I mean? Like it's one of those, you got to play it like 8 times in a row. And did not make the top 20 for our viewers though, so sad.
Steve did not. You rated it very high too, right, Steve?
Oh yeah, Greg, I love the game too, and I will play with big groups on this one. This one works well, and the thing I like about it is it's great at the beginning of a game night because people are trickling in, and as they come in, they just join. What? In the middle of the game? No, it's fine. Just join. No big deal, and it works.
Yep.
Right? Or if they need to leave, I gotta go by the time. Just no big deal. Just leave because you get. As long as you have 2 teams, it still works, right? So it's great for that. And actually, speaking of Just One, I often combine this with Just One because I actually take the cards and Codenames Duet and I use those as the Just One cards as well. So you get more variety in that game. But yeah, honestly, Codenames is great. Love it.
Okay, that was our number 9.
Nice.
Number 8, we are going to a Steve special over here. Steve loves survival games. And so what is the preeminent cooperative survival game on the market right now, Steve?
Robinson Crusoe.
7th Continent. No, I'm kidding. Robinson Crusoe.
Yes. I love this game. I love this game because it has I go out and do something and then it comes back and haunts me type effect, right?
Yes.
And that is such a cool mechanic in the game. And so there's a lot of different scenarios, but basically in this game you are you have ideas, you're trying to build equipment or things to help you survive, and you have weather effects, you can go beast hunting, you have to go gather materials, and the scenarios do change up a lot. It can get kind of rough with the dice rolling, but the mitigation's there because as long as you spend more time doing it, you instantly succeed. So it's like, do I take the chance? Do I risk it here? Or I really need this, I'm going to guarantee I'm going to get what I need by this. And I don't know, I love this game. Huge fan. I'm really looking forward to the new collector's edition coming out like at the end of this month. So yeah, I'll have my eyes on that one.
And they will collect like all the different, because they have scenarios all over the place, like promo here, but they're gonna collect them all in one thing. Like the Sentinels collected all the hero variants in one thing. So kind of a culminating point for that product, which is I think it's a better solo than co-op game. I find that it is when it comes to like at least even 3 players, 2 is okay, whatever. Like to me, like a 1 and a 2 player is fine because chances are that second player is somebody who you really like. And it's like you work it out. But once you get 3, I just don't think that each individual action piece is interesting enough decision, right? It's like, okay, I put my thing here because usually it coordinates with your profession. So like, you have your profession, you're a forager, you're whatever the things are. And it's like, okay, I'm going to put my thing on my profession so I get a little bonus and I'm going to go grab a pizza. And like,
yeah,
and so like at a higher player count as a cooperative game, I just don't think it's like there. But yes, everything that you said in terms of the story and the emergent and the things happening, coming back, and just, I loved Mystery Tales, the expansion there. That was a nice little progression. Mike, you had this rated lower, I think. Not that you hated it, but like it was just kind of not as resonant with you.
Yeah, I mean, what you said, I think the actions can be very dull with co-op. I kind of prefer it more multi-handed solo generally, where like those pawns become just resources for me to use. I despise the action dice. I mean, it was enough for me to like really not want to play this game. I just despise them.
Sure.
Like one of my least liked. Oh my gosh, so many ways I would have done that differently if I was designing it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate losing actions. Peter knows this. We strive.
It's frustrating to waste actions.
Yeah, in every design we do, what we always do. And hey, any designers listening, if you want to at least make me happy, do this. Don't take away the action. Do some other cost. So like the thing that frustrates me is Robinson Crusoe already has this. They have the damage on the other die. They have the adventure, which is often a negative thing. So instead of making it be nothing, just have the nothing side be you still succeed, but you take damage and you have an adventure. Done. I'd be totally happy. I hate the fact that I'll spend actions and have nothing happen, especially when like when I'm playing like 3-player and that is 1/2 of my contribution to the entire turn. There's like 7 turns in the game.
But,
you know, I just
in
lost.
This game, you're all mostly going Simo. So even if you only have one action, like I don't know, I've played this at all different player counts and we've had a blast every single time. I've probably played this at
must be the non-Minnesotans.
Yeah, I don't understand why people just don't enjoy it. But yeah, the non-Minnesotans. That's
again. I mean, you heard what I'm saying. Like I lost 1 out of 14 of my entire contributions to the game because of
totally disagree. You were getting a benefit when you fail. There are times when I want to fail because I'm getting my determination, which then triggers my abilities that then I can use to help the team. There are times when I do an action where I'm like, hey, actually, if I don't get this, that's actually a good thing because I want to be able to trigger my ability to get us food so we can survive for the next night.
All right.
So yeah, I can dig out something from the hunt deck because I have this extra inspiration. I can do
I don't want to talk too much more because it's on an upcoming episode of Shelf Life. But
that's going here. My goodness, this sounds easy.
I'd rather play Frostpunk personally.
I don't know. My wife and I have always had a blast playing this at 2 players, and I even had an experience once where I actually called Colin through a polo after we thought we won because we're like, okay, we actually got off the side. It's like the first time we actually did this. Like, we did it. We got it. We got off the raft. Hey, Colin, do we actually have to complete the turn? It really just says that we just need to like get the raft, right? And he's like, no, you have to complete the turn. And you hear my wife in the back, no! And so the next day it was back on the table and we were playing again. She's like, we're going to beat this thing. So we played it 2 more days in a row, failed both times, went back on the shelf, came back out the next weekend. She goes, can we play a different scenario this time? I'm like, yeah, we totally can. We lost that scenario again. So it's like her nemesis game.
It definitely sounds fun, Bairnt. It sounds fun.
Well, yeah, I think Mike and I
time about it too.
I think Mike and I are the lowest. And it's probably because we like to win games that we play. You know, people are like, oh my gosh, it's the toughest co-op I've ever played. I'm like, okay, that doesn't make it good. Anybody can make a game tougher. Like, you know, just, you know, give you 5 less life or whatever. Like I can make any game hard or any game easy. It doesn't make it good because it's hard. So I think Mike and I just like our co-ops a little bit easier.
Anyway, I don't want to spend too long on this one, but this is the number 10 one for our listeners, so just slightly below us because it's number 8, I think, right, Jason? This is number 8 we're talking about?
Number 8, yeah.
But it was the one that had the fewest number 1 choices out of all the top 10s. A single person said number 1. It was very heavy in the middle. Like a lot of people, I guess, have it in their collection and still play it a lot and has good fond memories, but I'm guessing they're not playing it like a lot consistently these days, would be my interpretation.
Because it's a great game.
or because they've convinced themselves it's a classic but don't actually play it anymore.
Yeah, that's probably the case.
Nice.
I apologize
all right, Jason.
For that. I had to just take care of some lighting issues and everything, but I'm fine now. So we are going to keep on going. We're going to go bounce back to Peter for our number 7. I should be announcing the point totals. The point totals are really arcing up. So like we were pretty flat around like the middle part of say 15, 16, 17 around there. And then it really started to kind of amp up when we got to 10, 11, 12. Now we're really like, we're on the steep slope. So then we are now at 394, the precipice of 400 points combined here. Because I'm going to Peter, I think you know which game I'm going to talk about now. We're not actually going to review it. We're just going to like play the mind.
Okay.
For those of you who are on the podcast, I guess this is the podcast episode 200. I shouldn't point you to Shelf Stories, but I will because I was doing the mind thing and I was.
You've been doing it the whole time.
Anybody who's ever played the mind with me, you'll probably know what I'm doing now. when I'm not sure about my card, I put it in the middle of the table and then I circle it around the card a couple of times. And then I like stop and I'm like, are you guys sure you don't want to play anymore? And I'll circle it around a couple more times. So that's my like famous move. And I don't know, for anybody out there that doesn't like this game, you don't know what you're talking about. You're just not doing it.
Oh, come
right.
on. You understand why it's polarizing. Give me a break.
Wait, is it a game? Isn't that one of the things? Is it a game?
No, it's not the game. It's the mind, and it is awesome. So, no, for me, it is just, I don't know. I because of my profession, I'm in sales as a profession. I love reading body language. I love looking at people. I love seeing the pain in people's eyes, but it's not big stakes, right? So for something like Quirky Circuits or whatever else, when I lose, I'm super frustrated. And I'm like, how can you be such an idiot, right? But with the mind, it's like, okay, it was like, the best part about it is you feel really clever when you do well, and you don't feel dumb when you mess up. At least that's my experience with it. It's like, oh, you played the 27 before the 26. Well, there's not much we could have done about it. But if you played the 26 first and then the 27, you're like, we are so awesome. We're like the smartest people in the world. This game always makes me feel good and feel smart. And it's just fun. And I love playing this with new people. And like the first game, you just fail miserably and you can't get past the third round. And by like the third time you play it in a row, you're getting to like the 8th, 9th, 10th round. You really do like mind meld with the people you're playing with. And I don't know. I just love this game. I'll play it always, anytime. Like one of my top games of all time.
Not as high for you, Steve?
Yeah, this one I've had awesome experiences with. I mean, Peter introduced it to me at Gen Con, and it was just fantastic. Like, Peter is a blast to play this game with. Like, if you get a chance to play the mind with him, definitely take him up on it because it's so much fun. He makes the game amazing. So, but I've also had played this game with others who it's flopped, right? And so, for me, it wasn't quite there. But I played with my brother, and he had an interesting strategy. And I don't want to spoil it for people, but like, I felt like he had such a good strategy that it kind of took away some of the fun in a sense. Like this is a really great strategy
because it's actually against the rules. If you're talking about counting,
nope,
that's against the
counting.
rules. Oh, okay.
No counting. Nope. I won't say it here because I don't want to spoil for people. But like, if you want on Discord talk to me about it, I can share it with you. But like, it was pretty clever how he did it, and it was fun in its own way. But it turned into a different game. And so I don't know how I think about that. But yes, mine is fun to try, but it is polarizing.
I will say, if you want to play this with me at any convention, this is one I'll definitely play because, I mean, we'll be done in 5-10 minutes. So, I mean, it's not going to take anybody's whole day. I don't have to look up the rules. That's for darn sure when we play it. So I will definitely play it with anybody at any convention. Just come find me.
I think I will always remember when Peter was introduced to this game to us and we're starting to play it. And then this might have been even the first time playing it, actually the first hand. And he like puts his card down, gets off the table, and walks away. I'm like, wait, what's going on? What just happened? Like, and I'm like, oh, I get what he's doing. Okay,
I went and got some water. I came back. They're still staring at each other. Like, are we still playing? I'm like, go ahead, guys, play.
So to jump in real quick, this is the lowest ranked for our voters of the ones we've talked about on the top 10 list. The Mind is number 47. And I realized I forgot to say Codenames Duet. It was just outside the top 20 for them at number 23. So all of these have been in the top 50 for our voters, but a little bit lower for the Mind.
Remember how I said I loved the listeners a minute ago when they're talking about Marvel Champions? They don't know what the heck they're talking about.
They're always
really
wrong.
Don't.
Always wrong.
They're just wrong. They're just terrible. They're just wrong about this one. I don't know. Every one of our listeners, come find me at a convention. We'll play this and it'll move way up on your list. I'm going to make the whole world love this game because it is so good. So good. Let me see. Was this number 2 for me? No, number 3, right behind Unlock.
Speaking of evangelical game, the next one is number 6. Now we're getting to 400s. 400 is high. 400 is, you would have to be a lot to go on. So evangelical game for another person over here who is their number 1 game overall. And the person who is most naturally energetic and evangelical about his games promotes this game whenever he gets a chance because of the IP, because of billions and billions and billions and billions of decks of cards, and the opportunity to just sink in and have a lot of fun. So, Colin, go ahead and talk about your number 1 game of all time, The Lord of the Rings LCG, our number 6.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get much better game than that if you ask me. It's like
yes,
Marvel
you can. You
Champions
get a lot better
2.0. I'm just kidding.
Wait, isn't it Marvel Champions 0.5? Didn't it come before? It's like the beta version.
I literally have 90 better games. I have 90 better games. This was my number 90 overall.
Wow.
And yet it scored this high. I'm just saying. Okay.
For you.
Lord of the Rings, it's another one of the LCG games. So you've got adventure packs. You can go on different scenarios. You can even do the saga itself of Lord of the Rings. You will have up to 3 heroes, maybe even more with all of the expansions. You can sometimes have, what is it, Steve? 5? You can have 5 heroes depending on what contract you pick and everything like that. It is a deck building game. So you spend about half the time actually building your deck, the other half playing the game. A lot of what is so enjoyable about the game is building your deck and then seeing it play out and how it works and how you interact with the scenarios. There is a campaign, the saga. There's also the Hobbit scenarios, but most of them are one-off, meaning you'll change your decks between scenarios. It does not have that ease of entry, especially because the game is dead. Right now, they're not making new content for it, but I absolutely love it. Steve introduced it to me, so thank you, Steve. And ever since then,
how much new content do you want? You literally have to spend $2,500 in order to get the full suite of
my wife might be listening.
Shh. I still want more. No,
$2,500.
That's a drop in the bucket. Come on.
It's a big bucket. It's a big bucket. A gold-plated bucket.
That's the whole bucket right there.
The big thing what they did, one of the best contracts they made is you can make any unique hero that's a specific color. Any unique ally into a hero, and it just opened up all of the deck building that you can possibly imagine. So yeah, there's no way I'm ever going to exhaust this game. So much fun. But you have to really enjoy deck building, and you have to really enjoy losing because you will lose a lot. And that's just how it is. And but that's how I like my co-ops. I like my co-ops hard. And so if they're hard and challenging and I have to build a deck in order to beat it, I love that because you feel so good when you beat that game. And of course, I love the IP. So that really definitely helps me as well. But yeah, that's Lord of the Rings, the LCG. You've heard me talk about it enough. Great game.
Bairnt, also very, very high for you.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was probably one of the greatest experiences I've had at a con was Lord of the Rings Con. I went there not even knowing much about the game. I was all excited to go there. I was like, okay, I'm going to build my deck. This is going to be great. We're going to go there. I'm going to be so awesome. And I went out and bought a couple packs that had some cards in it that I was going to build my deck with. And I got there and I built this deck and I played it. And also next thing Colin's reaching in, here, try this deck. Try this deck. Here, you got to try this deck. Wait till you see what this one does. So, you like that character? I got these 2 other cards with this deck with this character in it. So I got to try all these things. We got to play all these great adventures, and and that would really open my eyes to what this game was and how exciting it is. Have I played much of it since? No, I really haven't, and I think it's because I need that experience again, where it's like I get to play this like huge amount of stuff together with these awesome people. I think just playing it by myself, I wasn't having that like experience. Being able to play it with all these people and seeing how it all works and seeing all the things that are going through their minds and what they're doing, like Terrence can construct these out of control things, not even for, like Peter said, for legendary, not legendary, sorry, the other Marvel game, that LCG thing. It's like that. So it's just really cool to see all these different things that come around and I can see all that's there. So that's why it's so high on my list, but I haven't played it as much as I really think I should.
Yeah, the Con of the Rings has some of my best gaming experiences with these guys. It's been a blast playing with Bairnt and Colin and Terrence. It's just so much fun. I will always remember playing a game with these guys, and I know Terrence was off on his own trying to survive, just trying to win the game. But we were separated and we couldn't really help him, except for me. Because I had the ability where I can give him exactly what he needed to win the game, and I just blanked on it, just totally forgot. And that's going to stay with me for the rest of my life with these guys. But that is what makes gaming fun. These experiences we craft for each other, and this one does it in spades.
How are we doing on the stats there, Mike?
Number 9, with 4 people picking it as their favorite out of the 150 or so. So yeah, definitely very popular, although it is the least popular on this list of the 3 Fantasy Flight co-op ones.
I think that's fair. It's also older, so I totally think that, and it's dead. So
I think it's older. I also think it has the biggest barrier to entry.
Yes.
And as somebody who has, you also evangelized me, Colin, into finally, I won't say loving, but highly liking this one. Like, man, playing with you when we did it online for the that one video that got like lost.
Yes, that was on me.
Oh, that was such a great experience, and you kind of opened my eyes to how fun it can be. And then Colin actually like got me some of the Saga expansions, and I like campaign games, so that made me enjoy it way more. So yeah, so Colin, you are single-handedly responsible, kind of like Steve introducing it to you, and you guys introducing it to Bairnt. You spread the joy to me as well.
Well, and I think we're coming up with a theme here, and I think that's not true for us, but I think just the co-op community in general, when you play a game with somebody who loves it, like The Mind, we were just talking about that with, and Lord of the Rings LCG, that's a game that hasn't been high on my list. I was super excited about it when it came out. I played it a few times and it just never sat well with me. But I bet if I played it with Colin or Steve, that I would like the game a lot more. I'm never playing with Mike again. You can guarantee that.
That's fair.
But Mike made me the so overpowered deck. We beat the game in like a half a turn. And I'm like, that I don't feel like I did anything right there. So great. That was fun. Awesome. So but I think that's a big key though, right? If you're playing with somebody who really loves a game, it's going to make that experience better for you. And so, that's why when we even do these top 10 lists, they're always so subjective, right? Because it's what your experience has been with it. Who have you played it with? If I played Quirky Circuits only with Mike, maybe I would have loved that game. It'd be one of my top games. If I hadn't played with my kids or with Jerry, those were experiences that made the game worse for me. And so it isn't always the game itself. We always think these games, this must be the best game of all time, or this isn't. But it's your experiences with them, and it's the people you play them with, and that's what makes this so important. And that's what makes this kind of cool too, that we've been doing this for so long together. And we just get to share our different experiences with these things.
What I will say though, because I'm not disagreeing with you, but just like as you get into like a number of people, 2, 3, 5, you'll get different ones, but then you get 20, 30, 50 people, cream starts to rise to the top. Of course, right? The lists are going to look a little bit more similar. It's kind of like the Star Spangled Banner effect, where it's like if you hear 2 people sing it, it might sound like crap. But if you hear 10,000 people sing it, it's like, wow, this is pretty cool. Like I recognize what's going on. It's a human kind of psychology thing. And so like I think, like a Quirky Circuits won't rise, like I'd love it, but like it won't. But like a Lord of the Rings LCG or Robinson Crusoe or The Mind or these games,
well, let's just talk about the most popular one that did rise, which is Marvel Champions. The cream did rise to the top. We're definitely there.
Just take that cream off and throw it, man.
We can all be wrong, also, or just Colin.
So we are going to go to our number 5. So number 5. So I was very disappointed in the panel and everybody in the world that Pandemic is not everybody's number 1. However, I do get a little bit of redemption here because Pandemic Legacy Season 1 lands at number 5. So this is my leader. I rated this my 4th game overall. Pandemic is like, the basic game of Pandemic. Nobody had any idea that there was this much story that could be put in until it happened, and then people were just like blown away from season 1. I think it's still the number 1 game on BGG. Is that right? Or
no, Gloomhaven.
Gloomhaven, right. Okay. Maybe we'll see Gloomhaven later. Who knows?
No, what? Ridiculous.
Gloomhaven,
right,
but it did rocket up there for a long time.
Snooze Haven.
So, I mean, Pandemic Legacy was like, okay, if you didn't like, it's a really unique game because with a lot of legacy games, a lot of campaign games, if you don't like the base game, you're not going to like the thing. But like for Pandemic Legacy, it unlocked Pandemic for a lot of people, and it just created these amazing moments. And it needed to be legacy because it created that emotional investment. What Legacy does, like, okay, you play a campaign game, that's cool, you get that progression and everything, but Legacy, you're putting the sticker on and you're tearing up the thing, and your character does ... spoiler. And it's one of the first games that just had like pretty wicked spoiler culture around. It's like, don't spoil me what's gonna happen, I don't want to know what happens in December, blah blah. And like I still remember the high points. Like I don't remember the whole game, but I remember the high points of season 1. So that's why I adore season 1. Although Mike, you rated it a 0. Didn't even appear on your top 100.
Yeah, I only played 1 month of it, so I didn't think it would be fair to rate it.
Okay.
But if I had, I assume I would like it more than season 2, which I did play all of because I know it has a much better reputation than season 2. I don't think it would be that high for me because I tend not to like legacy games and I tend not to like Pandemic. So that's kind of a double whammy in
number 5 overall anyway, so I'm perfectly happy.
That's fine. That's fine. But yeah, like I there's a reason I have not sought it out because I'm like, whatever. Like it's Pandemic. I don't really care. So yeah. But it is number 8 for our poll entry people. So they liked it a lot too.
Just so you know, I have played Pandemic Legacy Season 1 3 full times with 3 different groups.
Oh,
and
wow.
Season 2 2 times with 2 different groups. So yeah,
I'm sorry you went through that a second time.
I loved that one. I not as much as 1, but I still loved it. Yeah, definitely.
Once you know the season 2 thing where it's like, where like how not to like lose your face, and you can kind of like nudge the group in the right way because it's in the flavor text where to go.
Yeah.
And so it's easy to miss. But if you know kind of like what's happening, you can get into the middle of that cone of possibility and then have a better time with it.
The second experience was better, I will tell you that.
And but season 2 was like longer, the games were longer, so I agree with that. Season 1, snappy, you were basically the Avengers. Yeah. Right? You were just going in, you're having, just like, gonna cure the diseases and I'm gonna fight the that comes out, and it's amazing. I love season 1.
I like the ... Yeah, I like that. Just saving the spoilers there. That was nice. So Steve,
Colin, well, hold on. I wanted to ask Colin, you played season 0 all the way, right?
No, we haven't been able to. No,
that's right. You haven't finished it yet.
COVID killed it.
COVID killed my thing too. Yep.
The real pandemic killed Pandemic.
Exactly.
The funny thing is that one's really not even about really much of a disease, for it's like infiltration and things.
Mm-hmm. Oh, season 0 will be on the docket. It will be covered this year.
I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Probably by most of us.
All right. So now we are going to get to our number 4, a game that nobody had in their top 10. We had 6 of us. Nobody had it in their top 10.
Oh, I think I know what it is.
All of us had, most of us had it in our top 20. And so, kind of like just like rising tide lifted this boat up to number 4 overall. Pandemic Legacy had 427 points. This game had 476 points. So all of us rated it in our top 50 at least. So then, Mike, you got a guess for me?
I think it's Aeon's End.
It is Aeon's End.
Yeah, because I know talking, except maybe Steve, I think everyone I've talked to is like, yeah, I like Aeon's End. It's fallen off for me. Yeah, I like Aeon's End. It's fallen off for me. I think all of us are a little Aeon's Ended out, is my impression.
Wait, is that Aeon's End or Aeon's End Legacy? Or did you do?
I combined them.
You combined them.
I combined them because that was my rule. So like, and also they'll also the same for Gloomhaven because we will talk about it. If they integrate, I combine them.
Got it. Totally.
Spoiler alert on Gloomhaven.
Nobody saw Gloomhaven coming.
But yeah,
right, well,
so
Steve,
actually, I'll throw it to throw it over to Steve because I know Steve was at one point a big.
Yeah, this one really struck a chord with my wife. Actually, she loves this game a lot, and I was really surprised. And she actually got into the lore of it, where it's like, oh, this is that character from the other game, and like that drove me into the lore as well, which is kind of cool. But like for me, Aeon's End, at first I liked it. Like, this is really cool. Not shuffling. It's a deck builder. You have to take down a big bad boss. And then at some point, start like, okay, I mean, the bad thing about it is the market cards are just kind of very uninspired. The bosses are excellent.
Yeah.
The mages were okay at first, and they got better.
Yeah.
But then it wasn't enough to keep it. But then when the Expedition came out, where you can have your own custom mini campaign going on, that added another layer of strategy into the game, where now you're not only leveling up your character by deck building, but also leveling up the marketplace as well, and getting other powers for your characters and your team. And that really put it onto another level. Now, I love it, but I don't know if this is going to stay as high as for me in general, because the cards just aren't as inspired. I like to explore what's out there, and I feel like I'm getting to the point where I'm exploring most of it. And so while I still enjoy it, I still have a lot of it. For example, I didn't back their recent Legacy expansion, which is like big accumulation of the story, and I'm really torn on that because like this is the ending of the story, and we've been following the story, so I'm like, I don't know, I'm not sure what to do about that. But yeah, it's a fun one. It's a good deck builder for sure. But there may be other deck builders like we've mentioned already that some of us like more than this one.
It's like a kind of a frictionless system. Like it's so, I think that, and it's good and bad in a way. Like, it's good in that, it's smooth as, it's kind of really smooth as butter. Like, things make sense and you kind of play, but then sometimes you kind of want the wrinkle. Like you want the hero's attentive fear. Like, okay, the deck building is bad, but this other thing is so good. And like different deck builders do different things. Like I love Shadow Rift, and Shadow Rift did not make this list, not even close. But I love like the little town deck and a little innovation. So like I understand why people don't like it, but there's a thing there that I love. And it's like Aeon's End feels like a really sleek car that like is just really awesome. But like, is it going to be how many people's like favorite is it going to be? And that's not bad. Like that's not a bad thing at all.
Yeah. Well, it was number 5 and 7 people's favorite on our list. Nice. So just one behind us. But yeah, I mean, looking at the numbers, it's like 5 people's number 2, 5 people's number 3, 3 people's number 4. So it seems to like be this very consistent, like the same number in every ranking for people.
It's best in class.
Yeah, I use this game as an entry to help people learn deck builders too. I mean, one of the first, like I didn't actually originally back the original stuff. What got me was the Legacy, Legacy one when it came out. And that really helped my group that had never, because I introduced it to people, then they've never played a deck builder. This one works so well. It was, you're able to get into it. You don't skip the first 2, you teach them. And then when that next thing came out, was it New Age? I think was the next one after it. Yeah. As soon as I got it, they saw it and they're like, hey, is that a new Aeon's End? I'm like, yeah. Let's play that. We really had a good time with that. I'm like, oh, okay, sure, let's play it. So we played to that, but we didn't really go back to it. But they didn't really ask for any of the old content. So it was cool for them to be able to see how that game works and be able to say like, hey, I played a deck builder. And like you said, it's a sleek system. They are able to just go straight through it. There's not a lot of mass chaos going on, but the bosses were challenging enough where they're like, it comes down to the wire sometime, which really kind of amps it up for you. So my wife and our group really, really enjoyed it. And I actually did back the next one because they want to play the next, like what happens. And it was kind of neat. Like Steve said, you get invested in that story. And then when that Legacy came out, just seeing some of those, just the first scenario where you're seeing these cards with those, it's like, oh my gosh, look, it's like this swirling power or whatever, where you're just that little mage going, hi, don't hurt me kind of thing. And original Aeon End mages are just like these enormously casting huge spells at this thing. And I was like, that is an awesome way to start somebody into this deck builder. So that's just my experience.
All right, I need to play with you guys more. I'm done playing this game with Mike because I've always liked it, but I don't know. We just haven't gotten it to the table as much. So we'll have to play some of the newer stuff because I was the opposite. I got in on the old stuff, have the first 2, and then when Legacy came out, I said, well, that's not for me because that's for newer people to the game, and I just never got caught up after that. And so I still have a bunch of the old stuff, and I've enjoyed it every time I played it. But again, getting back to that, it depends who you play with sometimes. Not that Mike's a bad person to play with, but he's not as excited about the game as you guys are, and so I know that would bring my excitement up because I've always enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't think Colin's excited about the game either. I don't know if Jason is. So.
Excitement's the wrong word. I like it, and I liked Legacy. I played Legacy. New Age, like New Age is how I want to play because I like the 3. I like kind of forming the market with my character. And I kind of like the evolve together and having the New Age of like you could do it in a night because Legacy took a long time. So as it's evolved, it's gone better. Like my difficulty with it's just come out so fast. Like I just feel like it's just always stuff happening to it, and I can't really I'm not as invested like I was with Sentinels and Multiverse. Sentinel Multiverse that came out fast too, but I was really invested. So I was like, all right, bring it on.
Well, the difference is Sentinels had like 1 or 2 villains in here, and like maybe 3 or 4 heroes at a time. Aeon's End comes up with like 20 new mages and but
you have to get the core set again. Villains. It's a core set over and over. Right. I have gotten so frustrated with their business way of everything is its own thing, which I understand from a business perspective makes sense, but then let people who kickstart only get the new stuff. Do you know how many base sparks I have? I could throw them like money. It's ridiculous.
But Colin, it's like 3 different pieces of art, man. Art. You can pick your favorite art for each player.
I could have every single one of my sparks be a different color at this point, or different
a lot of sparks.
Yes, I'm just telling you, that has bugged me the most. But I will say I really enjoyed my legacy play, even with people that have known how to play the game, and enough so that I'm actually getting the legacy expansion specifically because we want to play it. So
cool.
that's good.
The other thing that's interesting about this is we do have a Aeon's End channel on our Discord, and at one point we were talking about like what would you recommend for this game, and interestingly enough, like it was, I think, basically unanimous on that on our Discord channel at least, that Evan recommended if you get in the game, get New Age and Outcast. Just start there. Like, don't bother getting anything else yet right out the gate. Just start with that, and maybe you're done with that.
Great, you guys just killed the resale value on all my Aeon's End stuff.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Yeah, I got this one in War Eternal sitting here going, oh.
Yeah, I got War Eternal in the base. That's all I have. So I
have Outcast, Peter. So to say that you also have Outcasts.
All right. Well, I'll need to play some of the newer stuff for sure.
All right, so we're gonna move to our number 3. Michael Kelly, what is our number 3?
Well, you're asking me, so it is Arkham Horror, the card game.
Your number 1 ranked game, number 3, with 480 points. So we are really, really getting high. So for reference, number 5, Panaglades had 427 points. So we went for Arkham Horror LCG.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, Colin really said it earlier when he talked about like what he loves Lord of the Rings for and Arkham for when compared to Marvel Champions. This is one of the greatest like narrative experiences with me still feeling like I have choice and like kind of some kind of agency in the story. I'm a huge fan personally of Lovecraft stories and like kind of the whole mythos. Now Fantasy Flight's version of of Lovecraft is not really what the stories were generally. You wouldn't really take a flamethrower and blow off Cthulhu's face, but it's fun to do that. You wish you could. You read, you're like, oh, Lord, the tomb, it calls to my brain, the tomb. And you're like, dude, just throw some dynamite down there. Done. And they don't. So it's very disappointing. But yeah, like I love the way they handle the missions, the scenarios, the exploration of it. And then once you've played through it once, that's when you can like really get into the deck building of it. And I love how playing with like a rogue is so different than playing as like a fighter, and when you like have different compositions of groups. And this is a great one I love for solo and for co-op. So yeah, like for me, no, I'm not buying any more. I'm not a completionist in general these days, just because I have so many games. So I think I have 5, whatever the last cycle is. I completed that one, the Dream cycle. So I have all those complete. I'm probably going to buy the Return 2 for those. Maybe the Investigator packs if those are ever in stock again, and then I'm done. I'm not going to buy any more because I have more than I think I'll ever have time to play. But I still adore the game. I love it. And just to throw in the data while I'm talking, Lord of the Rings was 9th, Arkham was 6th, and Marvel Champions was 3. So I guess they like the thirds there for our LCGs. So yeah, this is a great game. Always happy to play it. I'll like go in and play the original 3 scenarios and still have a great time every time, like just the random things. Now, by the way, I will say, freaking Chaos Bag, what an annoying, horrific, terrible thing. I hate it many times, but it's totally Arkham and it's totally Lovecraft. And like the fact that your brain just melts because you drew the wrong thing, it's thematically fine. It's frustrating, but I just live with it and enjoy the rest of the stuff.
And if you really want to, you can alter that bag and take out the really crappy ones.
Absolutely.
So
I mean, it's fail forward anyway. So even if you lose, you're going to get the story and you just get a crazier story, I guess.
Yeah, a story of you being slowly smashed to a pulp. And that can be fun too sometimes.
It is my personal favorite LCG. So like, the combined score of myself voting to tick it a little bit above some of the other ones. But I mean, we all love their top 10 is like, all really good. Because I'm a story thematic gamer and everything. It's just, if it was Indiana Jones or if it was like Tomb Raider, like something like not Arkham, because I'm kind of sick on Arkham, it would I would probably have bought into it, but it's an excellent system. It really is. All right. So we have gone to our top 2. And, by the time we get to, like, we know what the top 2 are. And we predicted the top 2, like, before we even said anything, right? Gloomhaven and Spirit Island. And I did combine Gloomhaven and Jaws of the Lion. I think there are 2 ways of entering into the same system, which is fine. So the thing was which one was going to be number 1, the number 1 co-op game. So that one.
It's all Bairnt's fault, right? Because Bairnt, have you played Spirit Island, Bairnt?
Yes, I have.
Oh, you have. Okay,
you played it once.
One time.
Oh God, dude.
I'm 100%.
Spirit Islands too. We know that.
I retired from Spirit Island being a winner.
So the question is, which one on the One Stop Co-op Shop top 50, top 100, whatever you want to say, is number 2 and is number 1? So the answer to that one is because, well, actually, I'm going to go, let me go around the two. Which one is number 1? Which one is number 2? Go ahead, and Peter. Which one ended up number 1 for
Spirit Island's number 2.
Okay.
Again, I don't, because not everyone's played.
I think he means for you, Peter. Which one did you rank out?
Oh, which one is for me?
Well, no. For the aggregate
for the group,
list.
I'm guessing Gloomhaven's number 1.
For the aggregated list. Go ahead, Colin.
Ooh, I would say I'm gonna go the other way. I'm gonna say Spirit Island's number 1.
Okay. Bairnt?
I'm gonna go with Gloomhaven because that's how I voted.
I don't even know if it's how I voted, honestly.
Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, now I'm kind of doubting myself because I'm actually not. I don't remember how Steve feels about Gloomhaven. I don't remember how Jason feels about Gloomhaven. So
that's what happens because, with Gloomhaven,
because I knew Bairnt was going to throw off Spirit Island. I know Colin loves both, but I think he would put Gloomhaven above because he's played it so gosh darn much. But maybe I'm wrong. So I'll vote Spirit Island.
Okay.
And actually, Steve didn't like Gloomhaven, if I remember correctly, because that Gloomhaven versus Sword and Sorcery debate you guys had.
I'm telling you, I think it's Spirit Island.
Interesting.
Yeah, Steve, what do you think?
I think it's Spirit Island.
Okay. The answer, the number 2 game of the co-op shop, of the One Stop Co-op Shop, is Spirit Island.
So Gloomhaven did make number 1.
Gloomhaven did make number 1. It made it because Bairnt rated it his 60th game.
Oh, I thought I put it as 50. I screwed it really bad, didn't I?
Yeah.
The funny part is he only had 26 games on his list. He literally wrote 50 or 60 next to Spirit Island just to make sure it dropped down the points.
I was just trying to raise some of the ones that weren't going to get any love, and they still didn't.
Well, we're going to talk about that next, actually. I mean, I'd like to do that when we're done with our list real quick. Just say which ones that we're surprised weren't on the list and what our top-rated one was that didn't make the list.
We'll cover some random ones, some random
I'm assuming Spirit Island was Steve's number 1. Steve, do you want to talk about it? Is that right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely my number 1 game. I love that game.
By the way, both of those games crested 500 points. The only 2 games to crest 500 points. Spirit Island 534, Gloomhaven 543. So very, very close.
Ooh, very close. Very close.
And I'd like to point out, just like Marvel Champions is the best LCG, I was the only one to get it right. Also, I just want to point that.
Go ahead, Steve. Spirit Island.
Yeah, I mean, Spirit Island's a great game. It's kind of, I describe it as like reverse Catan, because Catan's competitive. There's a cooperative. Catan, you're trying to build the island. Spirit Island, you're trying to scare everyone off the island to stop them from building it up. But it is fantastic. I love this game so much. It was interesting though, because when I first was introduced to it, I had a really bad experience. I didn't like it at all. Just why is this game good? I don't know. And honestly, Colin, speaking of his influence, was like, dude, you gotta try this game. You gotta try this game. He was very generous and sent me a copy of it. I played it. And I think when I was able to sit down on my own and really digest the rules and really sink my teeth into it, and then it clicked. And then it was done after that point. But what I like about this game, I love exploration. And about this game is each spirit feels so unique. You can play them so differently, and then the powers you recruit to combo with them, there's just so much to explore and how that works. And it's all simultaneous, lots of cooperation, interaction with other people around the board. I love it. And I can play it pretty fast too. You can play it in about 30 minutes to an hour solo easily. Right, especially if you drop down the difficulty level and don't have too many things going on, you can do it in 45 minutes pretty consistently. It does become longer at higher player counts, but then you have epic plays with so much going on and an awesome experience. I know Colin and I had a great experience when we had 2 spirits comboing together, and I think we sunk half the island together, which was nice. I will always remember that. So let's move everyone on this one side island.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yep.
They all went to the other side of half the island, and the whole island sunk. It was gone. It was that was pretty epic. So,
is that really a win, though? I don't know, but it was still cool.
Oh, it's a win. It's a win. Hey, nobody's messing with your island just because they don't want it anymore. Yes, but nobody's messing with it.
Yeah, I mean, do note that keeping the Dahan alive is not a victory condition. That's right. This is the Spirit Island. Okay? It's the Spirit Island.
It's about the spirits, not the Dahan.
That's right.
It is the game. So like it's funny how like Gloomhaven and Spirit Island are like, this is the more adventure-y one and then the more like kind of Euro-y one. And they kind of I feel like they balance very, very well. They're the two games that have the along with Mage Knight. With Mage Knight, but it's a solo game. Like it could be Mage Knight could have been there if it was a better co-op game, but it's a solo game, so it's kind of on its own thing. Yeah. But Gloomhaven and Spirit Island have the best puzzle to payoff ratio. Like you puzzle the time you put in to work through your resources, take account for what happened, take account of the ecology of what's going on. So like, my card does this, your card does this, they both thinky, but like together. And so like playing through all of that in both of those games in Spirit Island, I personally prefer because of the one-offness of it, like you mentioned before about, give me a one-off, that gives me that whole thing. I can do this in a night and it gives me that whole, like, I can feel really, really clever, the theme, I'm big into like, kind of that, like, the reverse colonization, all kind of thing. Just everything about it is just like amazing. And I just don't have enough time to play it. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I just need more time with it, or else it might even be a 10. Right now it's 9.5 because it's hard to just get to the table because it's so like, because you can't, like, unless you play it a lot, you're going to forget rules. Like they're just, and I think both of these games have the same problem where if you play it a lot, it kind of goes, but if you drop it for like a couple of months, you can come back to it. It's like, how does this work? And what timing is this and everything? That's not it's just like a reason why it's not a 10 for me.
Yeah.
But no,
the app is really good though. And like for solo, it's not good for any other player count. I mean, unless you want to run 2 or 3 spirits, but if you want to play, I wish and hope that they get online multiplayer for it. But for solo and for relearning the rules, the app is great. And for, the price.
Is that a phone app or just tablet?
It's on Steam. I don't know if it's on
Steam,
iOS or not too.
Not a huge Steam guy. So
yeah. For me, it's funny because I think literally every one of us probably has Spirit Island above Gloomhaven except for Bairnt. Is that correct?
Correct.
I do.
Steve, yes, of course.
Yeah. Yep.
Colin, it's a podcast. Shaking your head's not going to help.
Higher for me. It was higher for Colin. It was higher for Mike. It was higher for Peter. It was higher for Steve. And then
so this is why we bring Bairnt in to bring balance to the force.
That's what I'm here for.
That is hilarious.
Well, and interestingly, the pollsters or the pollees, they voted Spirit Island second and Gloomhaven first. Oh. And both of them are like, they're very close to each other, but both of them are way beyond Marvel Champions, like more than doubling the votes for Marvel Champions, which was number 3.
Yep.
But Gloomhaven with Jaws of a Lion beat Spirit Island. Even if you take Jaws of a Lion out, it's still like by 1 point beat Spirit Island. And the funny thing is, Jaws of a Lion by itself would have been ranked 21st on this list by them without base Gloomhaven. Like just right. Jaws of a Lion by itself would have been just outside of the top 20. So, wow.
I mean, honestly, for me, and by the way, I lied earlier. I wasn't the only one that voted Gloomhaven. Bairnt did too. Sorry. Forgot to say that you voted for that too. So I wasn't the only one that got it right.
Forgets about
so let's talk about Gloomhaven. So now we're good to our number 1 game, Gloomhaven. Yeah. I combined it with Jaws of the Lion because I feel like the 2 access points into the same system. That counts for me. Card-based, dungeon crawler, hand management, puzzle to pay off, like, scenarios upon scenarios. And I feel like it would have dropped for people had it not been for Jaws of the Lion.
Oh yeah, no, I guarantee Mike wouldn't have had it even close to the top.
Yeah, I think it's in my top 10. It might have been like top 30 without Jaws of a Lion because I don't like how long 30. The campaign is.
It was like, I had it like 20 or 30.
Yeah, but Jaws of the Lion's so good. But Bairnt, you haven't had your moment in the sun. That's all you, man. Your moment of glory. Your number 1 game.
Really? This was not my number 1 game.
You're the one who made this the number 1
4
game.
is pretty gosh darn high.
It was my number 4, and probably because I've played it so many times. I've got probably an equal experience to Colin, where we've played this game with the same group for I don't know how many numbers of times. Probably, and I'm not the only one. Colin's not the only one who's going to say this. I'm sure that is the reason this game is so high. Is there's people everywhere that have their Gloomhaven group that meets like every couple of weeks or every week to play Gloomhaven, because that's how you get together. And it's such a slow crawl. Like Jaws is not a slow, but Gloomhaven itself is such a slow crawl. But you see all the different ways to get through these puzzles. I'm just ecstatic that I get to talk about Gloomhaven when it's been talked about, I don't know, by 337,000 other people. So I'm going to bring all these brand new points that nobody's ever thought of in this conversation. I've got really nothing else to say.
This is a top list. Are you kidding me? We don't. This is all rehashed, rewarmed.
This is
nobody has anything original to say.
I think this has been talked about probably more than any other game out there. But it is, and the reason it is because everybody finds a way to enjoy this game in some capacity. And I actually don't think I'd ever play this solo. It's always going to be with another person, because then you get that interaction together. You get that talking like, oh, I got this. We can try this. I'm going to do this. Oh, it didn't work because of course you still got that little luck factor with that little deck. So it's Gloomhaven. There's my moment in the sun.
So is anybody shocked that nothing's on this list for us? Is because there's one that I am.
Well, I do have.
Yeah, we can go to like the misses. Let's go to the
hold on. Before you go to their list, because this is one that shocks me that's not on it. Anybody have anything before I go?
Nope.
Mansions of Madness.
Yep.
How is Mansions of Madness not on this list? A top 50 list that doesn't?
Hated it. Absolutely.
Really?
Played it 3 times. Absolutely.
Wow.
Really?
I guess it's just you and me, Peter. Maybe Steve.
Yeah. Steve, have you played Mansions of Madness?
That game.
Yeah.
The hot's garbage.
Yeah.
Wow.
Really? Right. But you guys all like Journeys of Middle Earth, which is like
so much better.
No, Journeys of Middle Earth is way better than Mansions of Madness.
Yeah.
Oh no, I know, but
it doesn't take 5 hours to play a scenario.
But they're similar enough that I'm just I don't know. I mean, it's especially as high as Arkham is, and Eldritch Horror made our list, and not Mansions of Madness. I think that's a shocking omission.
I'd
rather play Arkham LCG or Mansions or Eldritch than Mansions.
A ton of games back here that I think should have made the list. Honestly, Nemesis is rated like in the top 30 of board games, and it's been sitting there since it pretty much has come out, and it didn't make the list at all.
It's terrible.
No, it's not. It's amazing.
Well, I don't think it's terrible, but I don't think it's co-op.
Co-op is not my favorite.
That's actually how I've enjoyed playing it co-op with with the same people. And again, we're always been talking about the games aren't sometimes what makes it. It's the experience of the game with the people you're playing. So the ones we're playing with love that group actually enjoys sometimes moving into that semi co-op experience. I mean, Myth made my list, and it's a totally co-op game, but even the group I played with, we kind of played semi co-op, because basically how this works is you're playing cards, and what you're doing can eventually make the monsters activate. That's how the monsters activate. The system I've really never seen in any other game. You're activating the monster by what you're playing.
I've got Myth, Bairnt.
I know you do. I'm surprised you didn't make your list. It's been
maybe one day I will open it. Maybe one day I will.
He hasn't played it, but
yeah, I'll come over and play with you. But and so like even in those kind of games, we kind of joking around and like play like, oh, I'm gonna activate the darkness, but I need to do this for it's just okay. It's gonna happen. Like we just do fun things. So being able to play a semi co-op is sometimes a little bit out of the element, but it brings up a little bit different fun mechanics for us. So I'm just kind of surprised Nemesis didn't make it when it's actually sitting in Board Game Geek's like top 30 since it's come out.
So by the way, Mansions of Madness number 18 for the police. Nemesis 38. So I think a lot of them also agree that maybe it's not their favorite co-op experience, even though they like the game.
Anything else we missed on our top 50? That's all right. So go through the poll. 20 to 1.
Well, hold on. Jason wanted to go through some near misses. How about I call those out?
I'm going to save that for another episode. I'll save that for another, because there's a lot here, and I'm looking at it going, there's a lot more to talk about, and it's already past 12. So I think we're okay on that. I'll save that for another episode.
Yeah. So Mike, just do 20 to 1.
There's only 3 that weren't on our list. They weren't on our list at all. That were in their top 20. So number 19, I'm sure Steve ranked this high, but I think maybe the rest of us like Legendary Encounters better, was Legendary Marvel. And then number 15, I don't love it. I know Steve did an episode on it, didn't love it either, but that's Imperial Assault with the app, the co-op play. That was number 15 for them. And then the only one of mine top 10 that did not make the list, and I think it's because some of you haven't played it and it costs a lot, so I don't blame you. And I know Colin doesn't like it. But Vindication for me, it is number 4 for the survey of the viewers. Y'all know what it is? Come on, Peter. It's one of my favorite co-ops recently. Like I got reinvigorated on it.
Gosh, my mind is blanking right now. I'll know it as soon as you say it.
I did a second podcast episode on it. to recant my
Too many bones.
Bones was number 4.
I
only
put that
below
at
Marvel
75.
Champions.
Yeah. I put that at 0. I didn't even put it on my top
Colin
100.
didn't even include it. I don't think Steve. I don't know if Steve's even played it.
Never played it.
Yeah, and then I guess Jason doesn't like it or hasn't played it.
It was 86 for me.
Okay. Yeah, so I love that one. That was my number 2 actually. That unseeded Gloomhaven and Spirit Island. I like that one better than both of those.
We're all wrong sometimes, Mike. It's okay.
Yeah.
And
Mike doesn't like fun. Remember
that's right. Mike sells fun. That's right.
Hey, 4th with the viewers, and you all said it was way wrong. So I think you are the outliers here. Just saying.
It might be true.
With the viewers on the Marvel Legendary thing, that was my highest ranked game that we did not cover. In this list.
Same for me for Too Many Bones. What was everybody else's highest ranked, if you remember?
Okay, so I can probably.
It was Exit for me. I was just looking that up.
Yeah, right. Fire Team 0 for me.
Oh, I still want to play that, Colin.
Well, if you like Gears of War, man, you'll love Fire Team 0. Yeah.
I think about 8 of mine were in the top.
No.
I can tell you it's Madara. Kingdom Death and Madara.
Shadows of Brimstone didn't make it. Folklore didn't make it. Myth didn't make it. Aliens, The Glorious Day in the Core didn't make it. Aliens, the board game from Bleeding Edge didn't make it.
Is he still talking? He's still talking.
Top 10.
No, they weren't. So Kingdom Death was your number 1, then Madara, then Nemesis. Number 4 made it, Sleeping Gods, then Jaws of the Lion, then Tainted Grail, which didn't make it, then Forbidden Fortress,
Shadows of Brimstone.
Oh, Shadows of Brimstone. Then Journeys made it though, so your number 7 wasn't there, but your number 8 was Sword and Sorcery did make it.
Yep, it did. Oh, I guess I did better than I thought.
There you go. You had and Myth was your last one, so you had 3 out of your top 10.
Four out of his top 10.
So for me, I mean, I did okay. In terms of things making it, I think the highest one I have that didn't make it was Untold Adventures Await, but that's a very wonky storytelling game. That is the Rory Story Cube game.
Rory Story Cube.
Okay.
And I love it. I really do. But it's like a therapy game for me. I can see that not being like a co-op like mainstream, and also Commissioned.
Oh, I haven't played that.
It was very, very high for me. But
I was going to say, Colin, I saw that on yours. We had a few people vote in the viewer poll too. That's the I remember
the spreading of Christianity in the first century.
Right.
It's also history based, and although Days of Ire, Budapest 1956, another history based co-op. I love my history, so that's I know that's not going to be appealing to everybody, so that's okay. But that is 200 episodes of the One Stop Co-op Shop. Mike and Peter, you started it off in episode 0, so go ahead and close this out.
Yes, well, thank you guys so much for joining us for 200 episodes. Hopefully you've made it through all of them. If not, you've got work to do. Definitely. No, we appreciate everything you've done. We appreciate all the loyal fans, everybody who's joined the Discord, everybody who talks to us, and communicates with us, everybody we've gotten to play games with. I mean, none of us, except for Mike and I wouldn't have known any of you guys without this, right? Correct. I mean, this is how it all started. We started the podcast, and that's how we met Colin and Steve. And then they brought Bairnt into the fold. And Jason actually is the one that introduced us to Colin and Steve. And so he's been a part of this even, before we were in with them. So really, this has been such a great journey, made lifelong friends out of this. And as far as we go, this group, I'm never going to forget you guys.
Oh,
yep. We're ending on a high note. No more One Stop Co-op Shop after today. Just kidding.
Only 7 episodes, only 7 YouTubes and 3 podcasts, and 4 streams.
And by the way, I was looking at the poll, and come on now, it was like 97% of the people are following the regular YouTube channel. It's like 60 or 70% on the podcast, but it's only like 24% of you were following One Stop Co-op Shop streamed. Come on, everybody. Subscribe to the stream channel. What the heck's wrong with you?
2 months ago. You got to give them time.
2 months. 2 months. We should have had everybody and more. You should have told all your friends and family about it by this point. Come on. You've had plenty of time. What are you waiting for?
Not how it works.
No, I know.
As we know.
Yes. All right, everybody. Well, thanks again for joining us. And we definitely...
Wait. We have one more thing to do, don't we?
We do?
Oh, the contest winner?
Is there not a contest?
No.
Ooh,
my
there was a
gosh.
contest. Oh gosh,
There are some
right
eager
here.
contest entrants going, what happened?
I know,
Wait
man.
it all the way to the end of this dang episode.
They gotta wait this long.
The contest winner will be in episode 201. No.
Psych.
Go check out Bairnt's playthrough on TV the Table, and you'll
hit
find the
it somewhere in
contest
my
winner.
Kicking Death videos. One of
Us
the
pollination.
8.
It's actually
He
on
will
Shelf Stories.
rename one of the sacrificial characters to the contest winner. So whoever gets eaten by the lion in minute 35 is the contest winner.
Yeah, he's gonna
Name the top 4 people, and each of them are going to have their own like character.
Whichever one doesn't die.
Whichever one does die, whichever one dies first. So everybody's
Whoever
like, kill me, kill me. Hey, Roy Jenkins.
Oh my gosh.
we had a lot of entrants, and then anybody who is a member of our Discord got an extra entry, so that made it even more complicated. But I want to first of all read this person's top 10. I thought that'd be kind of fun, right? Since they're the winner. You all okay with that?
Oh,
Yeah, go for it.
Sure.
So a lot of things that we said, some things we didn't say. Street Masters, number 10. There you go, Steve. Now I feel bad. They put Star Wars: The Dark Side Rising as their number 9, which is the Darth Vader version of Thanos Rising. So sorry if
Mike's making enemies of heroes.
Yeah.
That's great.
But let's see how much worse we can make it. 8 is Shadowrun Crossfire, which I actually still want to play. I still haven't tried that one.
Okay.
7, I think you like this a lot, Jason. Pandemic: The Cure. Yes.
Yeah. No, I like it a lot.
6, Colin, I don't think you like this one very much because of how quickly it can end. Power Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But number five, Dice Throne Adventures.
Ooh, good choice.
Number 4, Imperial Assault with the
Mhm.
app. Number 3, we didn't get to this one. I bet Steve had it highest of all of us. Marvel United.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's on my list.
2, Aeon's End. And number 1, everybody's number 1 apparently, except us. Gloomhaven.
It is our number 1, our collective number 1.
I didn't even
Because
mean to
of
do this,
Bairnt.
but I wonder if I think this is fun now. I didn't mean to do this. I wonder if the person listening now knows that they won because they just heard their list.
They just heard their top
That'd be
10.
kinda
So
fun,
you'll find
right?
out next week on episode
Oh my
201. Come back to see if you were right.
So it is Jamie Gillette. Jamie,
Congratulations,
Congratulations,
Jamie.
Congrats.
You're
Congrats.
getting a $50 gift certificate to the online store of your choice. We'll be in touch soon, emailing you. Congratulations, Jamie. And yeah, it's been amazing, guys. Like everyone said, or like Peter said, I should say. I've made some of my favorite, or basically all my favorite gaming friends through this whole thing. And I don't know if I've made my wife a better friend since now suddenly I'm recording videos like every night, basically.
Yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. I have wonderful people to talk to on Zoom. So what more do I need?
Who needs a marriage?
Yeah.
Coming next week.
How to deal with a
Single
divorce.
Mike.
A deep discussion on shelf stories, gaming, and divorce.
Shelf help. There you
Mike,
go.
the
There's
co-host.
shelf help.
Oh, this is how we're going to end episode 200. Nice.
We are going to end on a big thank you to every single person who has been with us. Thank you to Colin, who started the One Stop Co-op Shop and then absorbed everybody into the YouTube. Thank you to Peter and Mike for starting off the cooperative only podcast. I hadn't heard anything like that before. There'd been a lot of solo, not co-op, so I just gravitated towards as soon as I kind of saw it very, very early. Thank you to Steve and to Bairnt for kind of rounding out the family. Every single person here contributes something unique, contribute something fun. It's like, we all love co-op games. We all bring such a different perspective and such a different vibe, and it all comes together. Troll style, if you saw Trolls World Tour, all the different strings come together and they make the nice, happy, wonderful song. So on behalf of every single person here, to the Shelf Stories audience, to the One Stop Co-op Shop audience, thank you so much. 200 episodes of the podcast. Hopefully 200 more, maybe. Lots and lots of videos.
If you keep doing an extra episode every week, so we get to it in 100 weeks, easy.
So on behalf of everybody here, thank you so much. We will see you all at the next stop.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.